Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. The race to decide Wisconsin's next governor now 18 months away, but the campaign for 2026 is officially underway.
Washington County Executive Josh Schoemann appearing today in Appleton for a campaign stop a day after announcing his bid as a Republican. Chief political reporter Jason Zimmerman was there to ask some questions. He's live in the Fox Valley newsroom. Jason.
Cami, a number of Republicans besides Schoemann are expected to announce, with some likely making that decision once Governor Tony Evers decides whether or not to seek a third term. Schoemann tells me he's getting in early to get a jump start on fundraising.
Hi, I'm Josh. Randy Heron.
Speaking with supporters during a campaign stop at an Appleton business, Washington County Executive Josh Schoemann is hoping to be the next governor, being the first person to officially declare their campaign for 2026.
If you look across the country, this isn't all that early, right? Vivek Ramaswamy announced in Ohio a couple of months ago already. Byron Daniels in Florida. You're seeing it all over the country. And unfortunate reality is, it's a $30 million race for a candidate. You got a lot of months to go, and I've got a lot of people I got to talk to all across the state. I want to hear from them.
The Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran was first elected Washington County Executive in 2020 after holding the jobs of county administrator and county manager for 6 years. He officially launched his campaign Sunday, releasing a video and then holding a rally in West Bend taking aim at Governor Evers.
We've seen divisiveness, even when there are negotiations. And look at the line item veto that just happened. Obviously they negotiated that deal, and then he mixed line item veto for a 402-year increase in property taxes. I don't know anybody who was asking for that. Certainly legislators didn't think that was happening.
State Democrats, in response to Schoemann's campaign, releasing a statement saying in part, quote, he has railed against funding for our public schools and continues to stand by Donald Trump and Elon Musk as they wreck the economy, force new tariff taxes, and raise costs for consumers, gut health care for working families, and the last thing Wisconsin needs is another Donald Trump puppet at the helm who will undo all the progress we've made since 2018, end quote. The primary could be just as crowded for the Democrats if Governor Evers chooses not to run again. He is expected to announce that decision once the state's biennial budget is passed. That is likely to happen sometime around July 1st. Reporting live in the Fox Valley newsroom, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.